Carvajal. Scores it!
Ever wondered how a team can turn an impossible defeat into a legendary victory? What makes some comebacks so iconic that they're remembered for decades? Let's dive into the greatest comebacks in football history. Can you guess which one ranks at the top? 11. 2004, Deportivo and AC Milan. Holders of the Champions League, AC Milan were hoping to retain their crown in Europe and looked on track to do so after being drawn in the 2004 quarterfinals against Deportivo La Coruna. The Italian Giants were utterly dominant in the first leg after going behind in the 11th minute, with a brace from Kaká and goals from Andriy Shevchenko and Andrea Pirlo, putting them 4-1 UP. It seemed like the tie was over, but Deportivo fans had a night to remember at home in the second leg. Walter Pandiani, the Spanish side's sole goal scorer in the first leg, got another goal in the second leg after just 5 minutes before Juan Carlos Valerón doubled their lead. Albert Luque put his side ahead on away goals, and González Fran then guaranteed his side's progression, overturning a 3-goal deficit against a team whose backline included Cafu, Alessandro Nesta, and Paolo Maldini takes some doing. Final score, 5-4 on aggregate. 10, Reading and Arsenal, 2012. In one of the most remarkable games in League Cup history, Arsenal arrived at the Madrid Stadium as heavy favorites for their 4th-round tie against Reading. But the night quickly became a nightmare for the visitors, as the Royals stormed into a 4-0 lead before the halftime whistle went. Arsène Wenger must have given his team the hairdryer treatment at break, because Arsenal returned to the pitch looking like a different side.
Something goes right for
Goals from Olivier Giroud, Laurent Koscielny, and a Theo Walcott brace took the game to extra time, with the latter scoring in the 96th minute to save his team. Marouane Chamak's goal was cancelled out by Pavel Pogrebnyak before Walcott and Chamak both scored again after the 120th minute to clinch the game. Final score, 5-7. 9. 2001, Tottenham versus Manchester United. If there was ever a game to summarize the definition of being Spursy, then this one is right up there. Tottenham were hoping to cause an upset against a Man United juggernaut that contained the likes of Paul Scholes, David Beckham, Ruud van Nistelrooy, and Andy Cole. And at one point, they looked as if they were on course for a famous win. Goals from Dean Richards, Les Ferdinand, and Christian Ziege put Spurs in the driving seat at halftime, but the game then turned on its head. Cole, Laurent Blanc, and Van Nistelrooy powered Sir Alex Ferguson's team back into the tie before Juan Sebastian Veron and Beckham secured the win. Final score, 3-5. 8. Portugal and North Korea, 1966. Nobody gave North Korea a chance when they arrived in England for the 1966 World Cup, but after losing 3-0, they scraped into the knockout stages by drawing with Chile and then beating Italy in the final group game. Drawn against Portugal in the quarterfinals, the two nations put on a spectacle. Despite being huge underdogs, North Korea raced into a shock 3-0 lead within just 25 minutes. Not many would have predicted that to happen before the game, least of all Portugal fans. Fortunately for them, Eusebio was on hand to drag his country back into the game, scoring 4 goals before Jose Augusto confirmed their victory in the 80th minute. The match proved that there is nothing as special in football, or even in sport, as the World Cup. Final score, 5-3. 7. Liverpool and Barcelona, 2019. You all knew it was going to make the list, but you might be surprised to see it this far down, given just how revered the game is nowadays. Liverpool lost the first leg of the 2019 Champions League semi-final 3-0 at the Camp Nou, mainly thanks to the brilliance of Lionel Messi. It seemed almost certain that Barcelona would progress to that year's final. And injuries to both Roberto Firmino and Mohamed Salah made Liverpool's chances of progressing look even bleaker. But, thanks to goals from Divock Origi and Jorginho Wijnaldum, the Reds were able to blow the Spanish Giants away at Anfield with a shocking 4-0 win. Final score, 4-3 on aggregate. 6. Newcastle and Arsenal, 2011. This comeback didn't end in a win, but the 4-4 draw between these two sides remains one of the great games in Premier League history. We simply couldn't leave it out. Arsenal arrived in Newcastle as the favorites and wasted no time stamping their authority on the game. Theo Walcott put them in front within 44 seconds before Johan Djourou added another 2 minutes later. Robin van Persie was on hand to score twice, to put Arsenal 4 up after 26 minutes, with Newcastle fans all expecting the worst in the second half. Nobody could have called what happened next, though. With Abu Diaby sent off, the Magpies woke up and made the visitors pay. Joey Barton scored twice from the penalty spot either side of a Leon Best effort before the late Cheikh Tiote completed the iconic turnaround, a game that is still talked about to this day. Final score, 4-4. 1999. Man United and Bayern Munich. This list wouldn't be complete without one of the most dramatic endings to a Champions League final ever. Manchester United looked down and out, trailing by 1 goal in stoppage time, thanks to Mario Basler's 6th-minute strike for Bayern. Despite enjoying more possession in the game, United just couldn't find a way through, and it looked as if it just wasn't going to be their night. But in added time, the Red Devils equalized through Teddy Sheringham, sparking pandemonium inside the Camp Nou. But even those scenes paled in comparison to old Gunnar Solskjaer, scoring the winner just 2 minutes later, ensuring that United completed the treble in the process. The late Sir Bobby Charlton described the moment as what paradise is all about, and we're inclined to agree. Final score, 2-1. 2005. Liverpool and AC Milan. Despite United's heroics in Barcelona that night, it isn't the best comeback in Champions League final history. That title was always going to the miracle of Istanbul. Liverpool's Champions League final against AC Milan unraveled within the first minute as Paolo Maldini opened the scoring for the Italian side. Things went from bad to worse just before halftime when Hernan Crespo put Milan 3 up on the night. Supporters who made their way to the final looked despondent when the interval came, but their disappointment turned to joy within 7 minutes. Steven Gerrard, Vladimir Smicer, and Xabi Alonso flipped the tie on its head, and Liverpool clung on to take the game to penalties. Thanks to the heroics of Jerzy Dudek and 3 misses from Serginho, Andrea Pirlo, and Andriy Shevchenko, Rafa Benitez's side beat arguably the best side in the world at the time to lift the Champions League, marking one of the most memorable comebacks in football history. Final score, 3-2 on penalties. 2012. Man City and QPR, the greatest comeback in Premier League history, secured Man City their first Premier League title back in 2012. Going into the final day of the season, they needed to win to ensure a title win over arch rivals Man United. But Roberto Mancini's men were 2-1 down against QPR in stoppage time. To make matters even worse, United had secured a 1-0 victory over Sunderland, ensuring that they had done everything they could to get their hands on the trophy. But Mancini's side mounted an extraordinary last-minute comeback. First, a goal from Edin Dzeko in the 92nd minute tied the game, before the unthinkable happened and Sergio Aguero smashed the ball home with seconds to spare, sparking chaos inside the Etihad. If you close your eyes, you can still hear Martin Tyler screaming. Final score, 3-2. 2017. Barcelona and PSG. At the zenith of football comebacks, though, stands the remontada.
It's Neymar trying to feed it through. It's a stretch!
There's not been a game quite like this one, with Barcelona 4-0 down to PSG after the first leg and in need of a miracle to overturn the deficit. With a team that included Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, and Neymar, however, there was always a chance. Suarez opened the scoring inside 3 minutes, and an own goal in the 40th minute from Layvin Kurzawa meant that Miss Catalan's side had a chance. But after a penalty from Messi, disaster struck as Edison Cavani got 1 goal for the away side, which meant that Barca needed 3 more goals to progress. The scoreline never changed until the 88th minute, when a brace from Neymar meant only away goals were stopping Barcelona from progressing. Piling forward, pressure told, and Sergi Roberto poked the ball past Kevin Trapp to send his team into the quarterfinals. The epitome of the phrase, "It's not over until it's over." 2022, Manchester City versus Real Madrid. On Tuesday, April 9th, 2022, in the UEFA Champions League quarterfinal match, Real Madrid faced Manchester City at the Santiago Bernabeu. In the first leg, which took place in Manchester, City secured a victory with a score of 4-3. The return leg was evenly contested until the 73rd minute, when Riyad Mahrez broke the deadlock. The aggregate score stood at 5-3, but the Galacticos were not ready to concede defeat. In a span of 2 minutes, Real managed to equalize. Rodrigo scored a brace in the 90th and 90 plus 1 minutes, leveling the aggregate score at 5-5. In extra time, Real bravely earned a penalty in the 95th minute, which Karim Benzema converted, making it 3-1. And there you have it, the most jaw-dropping comebacks that football has ever witnessed. From moments that defied belief to teams that rewrote the history books, these games remind us that in football, it's never truly over until the final whistle. Which comeback do you think should be ranked higher? Or did we miss one that deserves a spot? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible football moments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.